How do we see you? The incredible human being, the history that is here, 200,000 years, that's nothing. Don't you find it odd? We've seen this before. Why don't you find it odd that the Earth is as old as the galaxy is, it's all the same age, that it took this long for humans to appear? You might see as a giant hand holding everything back. The actual start of microbial life started 5 times before they got it right, millions and millions of years. While other worlds had their civilizations, you were looking at amoebas trying to get it right. Photosynthesis occurred, last minute, saved the day. You start looking at the biology of the planet and the history of the planet. It doesn't really make sense that you'd be last minute with an Earth this old. To have humanity happen only at the last possible moment is counterintuitive. It's part of a plan. I'll say it again, there's someone else, somewhere else, starting right now. Because you passed the marker. It's the same scenario, and they'll be the new kid on the block next. And yes, I'll sit in front of them. If and when they change the consciousness of their world, like you have. How do I see you? All of these times that you've come in, it's such an honor to sit with family. Your parents knew of this day. Did you know that? On my side of the veil, they looked at the potentials and they saw that they could be. They were not the strongest, but they could be. They came into the planet, we've said this before, knowing that they would probably meet one another. The synchronicity would create the seed, which is you. That some of them would give you a bad time. Some of them would die early. They wouldn't be very enlightened. And that you'd pass the torch. How does that make you feel? I'm looking at it right now because I see the potential of the unborn. I see your potential next time. I've told some of you what you're going to do. That's the history. I want to give you the big picture, and I just did. That's what we see. That's what we see. The incredible human being. The history that is not the reality that you see, but the reality we see, is a family member who has changed the very fabric of the galaxy through eons of time. What some of you would call sacrifice. There is a system here that you don't know about and you don't understand and you wouldn't agree with. There's 200,000 human beings that we faced off with, almost 300,000 human beings, before they came in, and we told them this: you're going to come in and there's going to be a purpose you're going to achieve, and it's not going to be pleasant, but it's going to change the planet forever. And some of you are going to be kids. And when the earthquake happens and the waters come in, you're going to drown. The world will turn its eyes upon you, and there'll be a compassionate wave that'll change the crystalline grid forever and push this planet even closer toward that, which is what we call peace on earth. And you said, I'm going. And they said, I'm going. That's the history we see. That's your history. What I just told you is that some things, but the potentials are known. The cycle that you see of weather before you has created the volcanoes, the earthquakes, the tsunamis, and there is the potential of where you live. You know the rest of the story. Kryon, are you telling me they knew about it in advance? Not as humans. But I'm not talking about human history. I'm talking about humans as we see them on both sides of the veil. That's the incredible human. And they came anyway. And they accomplished what they accomplished, and they did. Faced off with a human being, there's a potential you're going to die in a way that you can never even imagine. So horrible. Falling from the 81st floor. By design, you're going to jump. And they did. Along with a couple of thousand others. And you know what I mean. For the potential of 9/11 was known. Very well known. And it took place on schedule. And there will be those even here who would not understand this. But I speak to you in metaphysical ways, compassionate ways. That one event put compassion on this planet within moments of its knowing all around the world, and that moved the earth. And the crystalline grid was changed yet again. The outpouring of compassion because of what those scenes showed will never be forgotten and changed everything. And the irony is that it took terrorism to create it. Now that is an old energy, and that is what's going away. What I'm telling you, dear human being, is that the old paradigms, even the dark ones, have come together to create a confluence of positive change on this planet. Sometimes you take 2 steps, sometimes you take 1, sometimes it's 2 forward and 1 back. But at the end of the day, you cross the marker. I give you this information even as advanced as it may be, so that all will hear it and know there is a plan, that you come in willingly. Now, turn the page and we're going to close. Old souls did not come here to die. Old souls need to stay on the planet. The ones in this room need to stay here. Extend the life as much as you can, using what we give you, using the new inventions that are coming your way, not drawing a demarcation line between that which is science and that which is religious or spiritual, and using everything with discernment that'll extend your life. Be circumspect and wise, and know that some of these things that you would call science are directly from the Creator, given to you to save your life. We need your light, and we need you to stay. I speak to the room, I speak to those who would tune in and listen to this, or read these words. The very footsteps on the planet of your wisdom changes all. Slowly and incrementally, you are needed. And when you leave, you'll return. I'll tell you why you're going to return. Because you're going to return with a different instinct of humanity. You're going to return with the knowledge that you've learned this time around, and you will awaken early by yourselves. You will not have to go through what you've gone through this time. Isn't it nice to hear that? It will be instinct that you are a piece of the Creator. This is new, and it's called the evolution of DNA. I've given you much here, some of what I gave before, some of which is new, in a package I wanted you to hear. why I, as Kryon, and those around me are in love with you. If you could see what we see, you would know exactly why we feel like we do. You can't, and you won't, for it is all hidden from you in certain ways so that free choice will be yours to make, without the influence of second and third and fourth and fifth sight. And that even makes it more special when we look at you and we say, even without what we know, you walk the path. And you trust the path. And you love the unseen. And that is good enough for us. It's working. Do not be dismayed by things that seem to go backwards that might occur. See them in the grander scheme of a longer time frame that marches forward slowly to a marker where you will have peace. It is in the works. How soon? I cannot tell you, for it will develop as it develops and be created through your free choice, but the ball is unstoppable. That's where it's going. And that's what we wanted to tell you. Not filled with information as much as it is filled with gratitude, with love, with purpose. We want you to know when you leave, you're not alone. You can't be. It's impossible. We're there with you the whole time. We wouldn't have it any other way. And so it is.